Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Thursday. Sorry, I had a little. It's all good. I'm out of my usual sequence here.
Fair enough. That's all right.
So hey Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you doing, Bob?
I'm doing okay.
I'm not 100%. I'm convinced that you're doing okay. So I'll just keep us going, rolling on.
But please steer the ship towards the shore.
All right. So good morning, everyone. This is today's Antidote, our daily broadcast where we try to provide that one thing, the one thing to help you move forward along your own unique pathway to success. And as we have a conversation about a topic, our topic this week is about getting away. And so sorry, my phone is ringing while this is all going on. It's very distracting. So through that conversation, we'll end up with one thing at the end of the day. And we hope that if you have thoughts or ideas about the topic or the conversation that we're sharing, again, it's stepping away, not getting away. Sorry. Please feel free to put it in the comments and share your one thing at the end if you would like. Because we know that while what we have to share will add value to some, what you share might add value to others. So we hope that you will participate in our conversation this morning. Tom,
speaking of value,
yes,
I am in the mood to talk about the 90 days to find your renegade way. Could you make that possible for me?
That you can speak about it, or that I put up a graphic about
it? Either way. Hey, folks, that's right. It's your Find Your Way, Renegade Way in 90 days. That's right, 90 days. You're saying, you guys can't help me in 90 days? I laugh at you. We can help you in 90 days. And here's how we're going to help you. We're going to help you figure out exactly what might be standing in your way or what you're trying to achieve, and help you figure out the steps to take to reach it. I know it sounds very simplistic. I know it sounds like, yeah, I should be able to do that myself. But the reality is most, if not all of us, cannot do it ourselves. Tom and I use the same techniques that we're going to work with you on to help each other with our issues. That's how this all came about. This is not like some magic thing that we don't share or don't tell. It's about asking the right questions. It's about listening for the answers, listening for what the answers aren't, and then figuring out not the big goal, but the next step. So if that's something that would interest you, we are doing our Find Your Renegade Way in 90 Days program. And you can go to the chat box. We'll put that in there, and you can check it out and ask Tom or me questions. How was that?
You did very well.
Did you like the ha ha ha?
That part of it, that part of it, I was not as, but that's just me. That was what was real for me. That's all. Other people. As we were talking about step, figure out what to do next. So that opportunity to step away, and stepping away doesn't just mean going completely away from what you're doing. It might mean just stepping away from that action and being in the middle of it, to having a conversation about that action or about what is happening and what's going on. And so that you can then determine if you need to make some adjustments. And I think that's one of the things that Bob and I really like talking with people about, is discovering where are their challenges and where would they really like to be. And our goal with this 90 days is that by the end of the summer, you will be in a different spot with your business, with your team, with what you're trying to accomplish so that you will be ready to have a really strong fall and a strong end of 2021, which is what we are all hoping for, especially as things begin to open up and people are starting to get back to whatever they thought was normal, although it has all changed and is all different. So today we are going to talk. Our conversation is about being committed to stepping away. We talked a little bit about what it was. We talked a little bit about the micro stepping away, which is really like in your daily activities. How do you find time to move away? We talked about, as I mentioned, what happens when you don't. So today we're going to talk about committing to it and what the value is that brings, not only you, but likely all of those around you. Would you want to start with some thoughts on that, Bob?
Sure, I'd love to. I have a client, Tom, who told me early on in our discussions that he had planned vacations for almost 17 years and not taken one of them.
Wow.
Or if he did go on it, he spent the whole time working, like 9 to 5 every day. And his wife confirmed this in a discussion that she heard him telling me this. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's really bad. A couple of weeks ago, she was talking to me and she said, if you're really helping him, he'll go on vacation and get away. He needs that break. And so we built a strategy. We started planning and we started building a system so that his responsibilities were covered by other people. And part of what the challenge is, and I've certainly felt this myself, no one can do what I do. That's my mindset.
Right.
So when you're going away, it's like, well, the world's going to come collapsing really fast. And I think shifting that thought to, hey, what would it look like if I took time away? I thought running my business, 8-10 years ago, that I couldn't take a break because my clients would disappear. They'd be like, okay, how long are you gone? Can you do me a favor and send me an email the day before you're leaving? And then send me another one when you get back so I don't bother you? I was like, what? You're not upset? They're like, no. You gave me notice. I assume I can call you if something's really bad, but they don't. And I think that's the fallacy that we have, that we are so incredibly valuable in what we're doing that if we're not there, everything's going to stop. And, you and I both have someone that this week is away that we know. And I've been dealing with some of the issues with that company, but the issues are minor.
Right.
They're not the cataclysmic things that one might perceive to happen. And I think that's it. And also, I like when people get away because it shows how their operations, when they have a team or a staff, if you can get away and not have problems, that's a sign to me that you have a pretty good machine that's running pretty well. Because one of the things I'll ask people when I'm dealing with companies is, hey, so when was the last vacation you took? Oh, 3-4 months ago. How'd it go? Oh my God, it was horrible. You immediately know that there are issues. And so I think we really need to think about building in the vacation time, building in the getaway time within the day, building in a Friday to take off or a Tuesday.
Sure. Well, I think it's the commitment that there is value in stepping away. That it is not just, oh yeah, I need to do this because somebody said, otherwise I'm going to burn out, or I'm going to be overly stressed, or I'm going to do whatever, but that there is actual value, and that we learn a lot about where we're at, what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish when we step away from it. And we start to, at least temporarily, think about something else, or our mind goes to another place that allows it to also expand and consider other things that we might not have ever thought about. And I think one of the ways you step away is you see what other people are doing. And while that is not getting away from your business, it's an opportunity to understand, like, why do they do the way they do? And is there something that I might take away from that I could bring back to my efforts? Because if we're not committed to it, we're going to be like the person that you knew who said they're on vacation, but all they do is work. And I'm guilty of that. I mean, I've taken a laptop with me and realize that if I have done a really good job of setting up my team, my business, my organization, my structure, that it should be able to run on its own and that things will be okay. And that when I get done with my vacation, that I'll be able to come back to something that is not a disaster because I have set it up so that it wasn't going to be a disaster.
Yeah, it's I think it's kind of a mind game. The mind game is if I can go away from something for a day, for a week, for 2 weeks, and it doesn't need me, does it really need me when I get back? And what I would say is, I've left full-time jobs and said, walking out the door, yeah, good luck. You'll never figure it out. In every single case, they figured it out. Was it the same as what I did? Probably not.
Oh.
It was different, and it was what was right in that moment for them, the best they could do. And I've been in situations where I've had to figure out the best way to do something. I did a little scrambling Sunday night with someone because it was like, well, okay, we don't want to call this person. Here are the 3 options. I would have loved to have had a 4th option, but we picked the best of the 3. And here we are 3-4 days later, no crisis, no problem. It was like, oh, it worked out the way it was supposed to. And I think we've got to be willing to commit to getting away, literally committing and saying, if you're going on vacation for a week in August and you tell your family I'm going on vacation with you, you're not going on vacation and working the whole time.
Right.
Sure. You might have to check your email a couple of times, but the time away will be valuable.
No doubt.
And it's the reason we do work. Sometimes I forget that. It's like, sometimes I think I work to do more work. I'm trying to get to a place where I realize I do work so I can go and enjoy myself. Like today, I'm going to play golf all day.
Right. Well,
there's a wedding tomorrow. I don't plan to work tomorrow because I'm going to a wedding.
Yeah, and I think that's the piece that it's interesting because and I think I've shared this story before. I had a boss, supervisor, who was always the first one in the office, always the last one to leave, almost always came in Saturday morning and worked till noon. And when he went on vacation, his policy was, now this is back before cell phones, so that's how old I am. His policy was he wrote down the number of where they were going to be. He put it in an envelope, sealed the envelope, and handed it to his administrative assistant and said, if you absolutely positively have to reach me, here's how you can do it. Otherwise, there's no need to bother me. Nothing is going to happen that can't wait till I get back. And if it is something that absolutely rip this open and this is how you can reach me. And I thought it was interesting at the time. And looking back on it now, I thought it was just his way of saying, this is how I am going to step away. This is how I am going to not feel like I have to open up a laptop. I guess we had laptops then. Or feel like I need to call in. That was his solution when he traveled for business. He would call in to see if there were messages, if there's anything going on, if he had questions he had to ask somebody else on his team. Those were we all had the ability to reach one another differently. And when he went and stepped away, he really stepped away, which I think was a good example that he was committed to it, even though you would usually look at him and the way that he operated and be like, he never steps away. He's always there. And so I think that was, at least for him, was what was real about stepping away and being committed to what that looks like.
And it's got to be what works for you.
Sure.
I know some people that take every Monday off. I know other people that take a 2-week vacation. I know someone who takes a 4-week vacation. Whatever that looks like to you, but there's got to be some getting away from your work. And it can't just be, oh, well, I went in at 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah, right.
That's not getting away.
Well, it's interesting. That was one of the things I loved about the work that I had was working in higher ed for most of my profession. professional life. We worked nights, weekends, all the time, it seemed like at some point. And the ability sometimes to be able to step away based on our schedule. Like, I don't think I missed a doctor's appointment for our 3 kids with my wife, maybe one, because people knew that was important to me. And that was my ability to step away, knowing that I'm going to travel, I'm going to be working nights and weekends. And so no one really gave a hard time. They were flexible enough to say, yeah, you can step away at this moment because we know you're going to come back and accomplish what you need to do. And I think that's, it's interesting that hasn't taken greater hold. Although I think it'll be interesting to see whether it does now as we come out of the pandemic, where people have been much more able and almost required to sometimes step away in the middle of the day because something came up at their home in a situation that was arising and they had to step away.
But conversely, they have their office at home, which means you can check your email at 9 p.m. and at 9 a.m. on Saturday and at 4 p.m. Saturday. And so I think there's a balancing act there.
Absolutely.
That we've got to get back to. But what I think is interesting to note is now we know that we're not as tethered to the office as we used to be. And I've gone on vacations where I've had to work. I had a job at a newspaper where I had to edit everything that went on the website, and there was just no one else who could do it. I'd get up early in the morning and spend an hour on that before anyone else got up. Got that done by 8 o'clock, and then it was on my day.
Yeah.
And that was what worked in that situation. It wasn't the ideal. I would have preferred to just completely divorce myself from it for a week, but that was necessary.
Sure.
And I think but so much of the time, I think we impose requirements on ourselves that aren't consistent with what the job really needs.
Sure.
We make it about us. Oh, I got to be there. I got to run that meeting.
Yeah, like the organization is going to fall apart if you're not there for a week,
right.
or 2 weeks, or
right.
And could that is that possible? Absolutely, it's possible, and it's usually
improbable.
Yeah, right, no doubt.
So Tom, you beat me. Okay, you win.
All right. So Bob, what's your one thing today about stepping away and being committed to it?
I think it's the idea that committing to it is all you. I was talking to someone a couple of days ago, and they were saying that, I committed to a vacation. I told my family we were going. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. When you commit to yourself that you're going on vacation, you will figure things out.
Sure.
And so that it starts with you. It can't be your spouse or your kids or your friends, your college buddies saying to you, hey, Tom, we should go away for a weekend. Yeah, that helps. But ultimately, you've got to be the one to say, hey, you know what? I want to go away for the weekend and just get away from work. And you and I do it with our work here.
Yes.
And I've finally gotten to a place where I don't have qualms about telling you, Tom, I'm not going to be around today or tomorrow. If you need me, text me.
Yeah, well, I think, the more we've done this, the more you figure out how to make that work. I think one of the beauties of the world of work that we're in is you can find ways to do that. There are ways around, we said we're going to do the show every day. Okay, yes. And that doesn't necessarily mean that every day it has to be live. We committed.
Hey, wait. Are you saying it doesn't have to be live today, Tom?
I believe that's what I just said.
Wow.
Something to
Is
think
that
about.
why there aren't comments right now?
I wasn't going down that path. I was just sharing that in our work world today, there are ways that weren't necessarily available in the past. And I guess as I think about my one thing, to me, I would ask people to consider what are they going to do to commit to stepping away and understand the value that is going to provide them as a whole. It's one thing to say it. Yeah, I'm going to do that. All right. What's the first step? What's the first vacation you're going to plan? Or if you have a vacation planned, how are you going to leave your computer at home? How are you going to promise, whoever you're going with, or if you're going by yourself, that you are not going to do what you thought you would, which was like, oh, I got to do this call. I got reschedule it. So that's what my challenge would be, I think, is maybe my one thing is, what is the first step? How are you going to commit to yourself that this is going to be the time that you are going to step away and see the value that it provides? And at the same point, I think, like you mentioned earlier, what happens when you do? Because what it will do is it will provide a new understanding of what your organization looks like, which will likely lead to new discoveries and new efficiencies. And I think that's exactly what's happened with the world of work today. Yep. We all stepped away, or not all of us. Some people worked at home, but many stepped away from the office. And I think those businesses are now figuring out what is the value of that. And at the same time, understanding what's the value of having people back at the office. I think there's real learning that can happen if organizations take the time to try to understand that. So that's a long one thing for me. Sorry about that.
No.
So, folks, if you have a one thing, please feel free to share. You can put it in the comments, or you can share it inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. It's easy to do. If you're not yet a member, just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then tell us or ask to join. To join, you have to just tell us why you're a renegade, because it is a private group, and we want to make sure that you are going to be a part of this growing.
Oh, you turned that around today.
I know. You like that?
I like it better when you say it is a private group. I don't like it turned around. Just my 2 cents.
That's what's real for you. That's fine. It's like I didn't like your little laugh or whatever that was.
That's it.
It wasn't real. Yeah, that. So we hope that you will share your thoughts and ideas inside that Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we're growing a community of people trying to help one another take their own unique steps on their pathway to success. So we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, hopefully. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Here is some further information about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next